Now, the deep state, they are in a panic. DC is in a panic. And I know we say this quite often, and a lot of people say, well, how can we tell if they're in a panic? We don't see Hillary Clinton running off to another country. We don't see Comey running off. We don't see these individuals doing anything. You have to understand their mindset. Many of these people on the higher level, they believe they're completely untouchable. They believe that nothing will ever get them. And because of this mentality, they believe they don't need to go anywhere. They don't have to worry. Think about it, because all these years, nothing has ever happened to them. They believe they're above the law. They believe that people have no power. There's no reason to run. If we run, that makes us look guilty. But you can see that there are certain individuals within DC that are panicking. They realize something is not right. They realize things are not going in the right direction. I mean, if you look at Kamala Harris and many others, they're going off the deep end. They're worried. They're afraid. And she was giving a speech to the Human Rights Campaign fundraiser in Los Angeles. And she said something very interesting. And this should tell you quite a bit. That individuals in D.C., they are worried. I won't say any more. Just take a listen to what she said.
Born out of optimism, we win. And so I say this to say that these last 2 years and some months have certainly caused a lot of us to start speaking to an inanimate object called a television and to shout at that thing. It has caused a lot of us to go through individual and group therapy. It has caused a lot of us to feel a bit of despair and depression and anxiety and fear.
Now, did you hear her voice? It was almost shaking. Did you hear what she said? They're afraid. They're worried. They're panicking. And they need help. This is panic. You can hear it in her voice. They're afraid of what's going to happen. And they might put on a happy face out in public like there's nothing wrong. We might see Hillary Clinton, she isn't running. We might see Comey not running, Eric Holder, Sally Yates, and the rest, all sitting by because in their minds, they believe they can't be touched. But somewhere back in the corner of their brain, they are worrying because they realize there are certain investigations going on. They realize that if Trump stays in office longer and longer, well, this is not going to be a good scenario for them. And this is why they've been trying everything they possibly can to get him out of office. But it's not working. It doesn't mean they don't have other tricks up their sleeves, which I do believe they have. I think we're not finished with the deep state yet. We haven't even gotten to the D class. We haven't even gotten to the OIG report. What do you think they're planning on? What do you think they're working on? Do you think they're just going to let that be released? No. They're going to try to sabotage the news cycle. They're going to try to block everyone from seeing it. They're going to try their last resort. That's what they're going to try to do. Now, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, it looks like she's still in a bit of trouble here. Because on Wednesday, the Coolidge-Reagan Foundation, a First Amendment watchdog, filed another complaint against Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, this time targeting her campaign manager. And this complaint consists of 50 pages and levying more than 20 counts against Ocasio-Cortez and her manager and the entities they created to carry out an unlawful dark money scheme. The complaint provides the most in-depth analysis of Ocasio-Cortez's various campaign finances violations to date. Now, of course, she's saying this whole thing is completely bogus. That, no, this is not true. You have nothing on me. But according to the complaint filed with the FEC in March, 2 PACs founded by Ocasio-Cortez, top aide, funneled over $1 million in political donations into 2 of his own private companies. So there seems to be a problem here, and it looks like they're digging deeper and deeper, and they're finding more and more about what they have done, and it's all coming to light. We see that Nadler went ahead and they had the vote to subpoena the Mueller report. They want it completely unredacted. They want the full report because Barr didn't comply with the April 2nd deadline. Did anyone think he was going to comply? No. He's going to give the report with redactions sometime in April. And I'm happy that Barr didn't bow down to Nadler and this ridiculous request, because it's Barr's job to make sure that there's nothing sensitive in this report. And he needs to read it over, and he needs to review it. Most likely, the report will be completely transparent. And just like George Papadopoulos tweeted out, I don't think it's going to be what they think it's going to be. I think they're still working on old intel, that Mueller was doing everything they wanted, where he went down all these different paths. They have all the documentation of Trump spending here, Trump's money going this way, what the Russians were doing, and I don't think it's really going to contain what they think it's going to contain. I think it's going to be something completely opposite, and they're going to be shocked. Just like when the Mueller summary came out, they were all defending why they were right. And now they're still defending why they're right while they order this report. Now, of course, they want this to be stuck in court. They want to keep this out in the public. They're using it as their firewall, but it's going to fail. How does Trump and the Patriots completely beat all this? They make it transparent and say, you didn't have to do that. We're going to give it to you anyhow. We were just baiting you, and you fell for it. Here's the report. Read it out loud to everyone, please. Now, Mark Meadows is out there, and he's accusing the Dems of playing politics in their attempt to subpoena the report from Mueller. And he says the report found no evidence of collusion between the campaign of Trump and Russia, and this is according to the summary released by Barr. Meadows said this was not a transparency subpoena. This was a 2020 subpoena. It's all political theater. It has nothing to do with getting to the truth. Of course it doesn't. There was never Russian collusion. There was never obstruction. There was never any of this. They created it. And Mark Meadows is correct. Now, Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan, they are trying to get the transcripts of Michael Cohen's closed-door appearance before the panel in February and March. And they went on to say that every member of the House of Representatives, whether Republican or Democrat, should not tolerate witnesses who lie before Congress. This is what Jordan and Meadows said. They wrote a letter to House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff and Ranking Member of the committee Devin Nunes. This is a matter that goes directly to the integrity and credibility of the institution. According to Jordan and Meadows, both members of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, Cohen made demonstrably false statements when he appeared in February before their panel. In February, they submitted a criminal referral to the Justice Department urging the agency to investigate statements made by Trump's former attorney, including his denial that he was interested in working for the White House. Now, House Oversight Committee Chairman Elijah Cummings has disagreed with the pair's characterization of Cohen's testimony, casting doubt on whether Cohen actually wanted to work in the White House, citing salary limitations. Now, in their letter, Jordan and Meadows said Cummings promised accountability if Cohen lied and is now delaying action on referring Cohen on the purported basis that he first needs to review Cohen's testimony to the intelligence panel. Wow, it's amazing. When they're asking for a transcript, they just don't want to give it. But they want the Mueller report unredacted and the full report. Wow, it's completely unbelievable. Now, it turns out that Nellie Ohr lied about her ham radio to Congress, and this is coming out of the conservative treehouse. And it always seemed kind of sketchy that at the same time Nellie Ohr began communicating with Christopher Steele and other government participants associated with the Steele dossier, she applied at that time for a ham radio license. Now, if we look at the Federal Communication Commission and we look at the report, we can see the dates when she applied and was granted the license, and it looks like it was May 23rd, 2016. But during a congressional testimony, Nellie Ohr was asked when and why she obtained the ham radio operator's license. Ohr testified she obtained the license in 2015, well before she began working for Fusion GPS. That's kind of strange, because if you look at the FCC, it says that it was granted 2016. Obviously, this statement conflicts with the FCC record. That's kind of strange. So let's continue. Just to make sure that the public FCC link date was correct and accurate, Technofog filed a Freedom of Information request to verify the application and approval date. The result was confirmation of May 23, 2016. So it wasn't in 2015. The application date matches the FCC public information record of May 23rd, 2016. So it's now confirmed that Nellie Ohr lied to Congress. So her whole entire story that she was just taking up a hobby and she just wanted a ham radio license because, she was just interested in it was a complete lie. So just like Mueller charged other individuals for lying to Congress, looks like Ohr should be charged for lying. Now, Judicial Committee Chairman Senator Lindsey Graham, he vows to bring former FBI Director James Comey back to Capitol Hill to testify about the origins of the Russian investigation. Graham said millions of Americans believe that the top level of the Department of Justice and the FBI, they wanted Clinton to win and Trump to lose. They manipulated the law to let her off, manipulated the facts and the law to go after Trump, and that's a big deal to a lot of people. He said, it's not my job to find out if crimes were committed, he said. It's my job to provide oversight of the executive branch. Did they bend the rules? Did they break the rules to get an outcome? Did they mislead the FISA court? Do we need to change the rules about FISA courts? Are there any rules at all about counterintelligence operations? Why did you not tell Trump? You told Feinstein she had somebody on her staff working for China. Why didn't you go to Trump to tell him about suspicions about Russia? Was it a backdoor attempt to get into his campaign? So Graham is going after these individuals, starting with Comey. Now, it looks like Kamala Harris, Catherine Cortez Masto, and Dick Durbin, they introduced a bill called Dreamers. And what they want to do is they want to bring in the illegal individuals and allow them to work in government. I mean, think about this for a second. Those individuals that jumped the border, entered this country illegally, they want them working for the government. So they're going to choose them over a legal citizen. They're going to allow an illegal person to work in the government. Now, do you think this bill is going to go anywhere? Most likely not. But you can see their thought process in all this. It's unbelievable. We see Trump right now, he's going to pursue executive crackdown on immigration. The White House right now, they're exploring all executive authorities in existing law that will allow an aggressive crackdown on illegal immigration and legal immigration fraud. There's going to be an aggressive effort to utilize every existing authority in statute. This is coming from Miller. Who's Miller? He's the senior advisor to the president. His name is Stephen Miller. Miller noted that the White House is systematically reviewing all authorities that are already on the books, both in terms of cracking down on illegal immigration and the abuse of our legal immigration system. The targeted abuse actions include illegal immigrants who overstay temporary visas, combating or addressing legal benefit seeking in the legal immigration system. There are approximately 1 million illegal aliens in the United States with the final removal orders that still remain at large. I believe there's a lot more than this, and I believe this is why the president wants a census. Miller gave one example of the type of executive action the administration can take. The presidential advisor noted that existing laws has a statute that allows for a significant financial penalty for every single day that an alien resides in the country after being ordered removed. This law has been on the books for a very long time and has not been utilized. So I think what they're doing, and they said what they're doing, is they're going back in time and they're going to use all the laws that are on the books. Those laws that were created by the Democrats, laws that were created by the Republicans. And they're going to use these laws against those who say, no, we shouldn't do this. But they're going to turn around and say, well, this was created by this individual. This one was created by this individual. I mean, these are your laws that you wanted on the books. We're going to use them now. And of course, wait until you see what happens once they push this forward. We see out in New Zealand, it looks like they are following through on gun control. They're passing the laws that are going to basically ban all semi-automatic weapons and shotguns. Now remember, this is the poster child of what the United States is trying to do and wants to do. And when I say the United States, I'm talking about those deep state players. They want to remove all the weapons, and they use New Zealand as the poster child to say, see, look what you can do. It is possible. And you hear certain individuals within government saying we should follow this. Actually, you hear mainstream media saying we should follow this. And they're trying to use this as a case. And they're trying to say we should do the same thing. We see out in Venezuela, Maduro, he is now allowing the Red Cross to distribute aid in his country. Now, I don't know if it's because Russia has sent some military personnel, not many people, but he might feel a little bit more secure in Venezuela. By the way, that story of China sending troops into Venezuela, that's fake, phony, and false. And it reminds me of the story when they said that China was sending troops into Syria. For some reason, there is no article or any type of source that backs this up at all. And China is denying it. They denied it in Syria. It wasn't true. They're denying it in Venezuela. So it looks like, most likely, certain individuals, the intelligence agencies, the mainstream media, whoever it is, they're trying to make it seem like the neocons, it could be anybody, trying to make it seem like China and Russia, they're building up military forces in Venezuela, we're going to war. But this is not what Russia is doing. Russia has been pushing peace throughout the Middle East, peace in Ukraine. It's the neocons, it's the deep state that push the wars. And we went over this many, many times before. Now, something very interesting with what happened in Mar-a-Lago. We know yesterday we talked about this Chinese woman, and her name is Yuling Zhang. And she was on the premises with a thumb drive, with malware, computer system, had 2 different passport IDs, and people are looking up this individual, and we're getting hits now that she might be a Google employee. Now, is she the same exact person? We don't know as of yet, but the names do match. Yuling Veronica Zhang, and she's a Google employee. Now, this is very interesting. Now, I'm not saying that she's absolutely a Google employee, but it's very odd that an individual with the same exact name is working for Google. Maybe it's a coincidence, and I really don't believe in coincidences.